Welcome one, welcome all to the next average podcast, the Shelby Nick average podcast, or as we like to call it, Aw Snap. We get the snap this week. It's going to be a good cast.
I have been warming up my fingers. Oh, fuck.
The Subway sandwich is Shelby. The hammer bonk is Nick. And we are here to talk about football, basketball, and anything else that may come up along the way. We are going to start with the big old elephant in the room. This.
Not your mama. Your mama's nice. Joe's random ass mom. Joe's random ass fat ass mom.
I'm sorry, Joe. He's like this. No, I was talking about the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
Today's date is February 13th. Just like to get that out there for all of the relevancy for all the sports that we'd like to talk about. You know, sports opinions, sports thoughts may change day to day, week to week. So today's current date is February 13th. And the Super Bowl was last weekend.
Super Bowl.
Do you wanna take him through the game recap before I start crying?
I sure will. I just want to say, shout out me for getting the betting right. So, suck a dick, dude.
We'll go over that later. Hold on, that is a line on the script. No, we'll go over that later. Don't jump the gun here.
I read the script, and I also read the script of this game. So, I didn't expect it to be as low scoring in the first half. But what I really liked about it is it was just good defense and not like bad football. You know, it was still good football. You know, but it's just sometimes the defense would just overcome the offense and would just overcome the offense and, you know, put a hold and 3 and out or, you know, a good fumble and stuff like that. Then I think it was a heavy defense first half. And what I liked about it is that it kind of pleased both parties. In the defense fact, I had the first half, and then the offense was the second half.
So Shelby did an absolutely horrible job explaining what happened during the game, or giving his overview of the game. Great job explaining his thoughts on the game.
Okay, fine. Okay, bet.
The San Francisco 49ers played the San Francisco 49ers played the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs were down at halftime, 10-3 to the 49ers. Chiefs came back in the second half. Game went into overtime. Score was 19-19. Went into overtime. Second time in Super Bowl history that a Super Bowl went into overtime. And the Chiefs pulled it out 25-22. This marks the first time since 2003 and 2004 since there was a back-to-back champion. And that is an overview of the game. Now you can go into your thoughts, Mr. Shelby.
Well, shit.
Got him.
Okay, so the overview of the game. So the Chiefs were down.
Now, I just did the overview. You don't have to do the overview.
No. Well, now I'm confused. What do you want me to do? I overviewed.
You didn't overview anything. You just went
better.
Straight into your thoughts.
You got to overview me standing over your body after I kick your ass.
All right, well, that's not very nice to bring up to your co-host here. We are getter-uppers here. We are bringer-uppers. Okay? Quit trying to bring me down.
Kelly Clarkson, what doesn't kill you, he's stronger.
So what were your thoughts on the actual game itself? You kind of went into how you enjoyed the first half defense and the second half offense and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I was really surprised at how little Kittle was used. I say that's something. I think I saw that he had 2 catches for 4 yards. Like, yes, I know Kittle brings more than just, catching and all that to the team. I was really surprised they didn't really implement him as much as they probably should. But that was because they had who was the receiver, the one with the red hair? I cannot think of it.
Jawan Jennings.
Yeah, they had Jawan being him, being arguably Super Bowl MVP if the Niners won. I think there's no way that he couldn't be Super Bowl MVP after throwing not only a passing touchdown, but also catching it late in the game as well. So, my thoughts on the game is it was obviously a great game. Everything you wish for in a meeting of the two best teams in the NFL. I think Brock Purdy got outplayed by Mahomes. I know you said something about him not doing that, and I don't know. I think we said that before the overtime, so I don't know if you still believe that or not. I'm sure we'll get into that later, but I think Purdy showed, just the Niners in general showed the not really inexperience, but I think more so on the Chiefs side for them being experienced in the Super Bowl. Obviously, with last year's win and Mahomes having his third, and the team staying pretty well intact, other than some small pieces and Tyreek Hill and whatnot. But I think Andy Reid showed why he, best offensive coach in the game. And then with Coach Spag just putting on a clinic on the defensive side, coordinating. What was your thoughts, Nanner?
So I let you go first because I myself am a 49er fan, and I could probably talk about this game for the full hour and a half that we're shooting for.
Yeah.
Will I do that? No. I'll try to condense it as much as I can. But here, to sum up everything that I'm thinking about, the Chiefs played a better game than the 49ers. Now, I say that for many different reasons. The first one being is that as soon as a team loses the Super Bowl, the media want to start burying or start pointing blame for why they lost. So a lot of people have already saying that Brock Purdy's the reason the 49ers lost, or Kyle Shanahan's the reason the 49ers lost, or Debo's the reason, or Kittle's the reason, stuff like that. I don't think there is a particular reason why the 49ers lost other than the Chiefs played a better game. Brock Purdy, for being in the position that he was in, played really well. He did not outplay Patrick Mahomes, but if you need somebody to outplay the greatest quarterback, second greatest quarterback ever, greatest quarterback that's playing in the game right now, if you need somebody to outplay him, then you're never going to win a championship. Brock Purdy played phenomenally for where he was, the situations that he was put in. I was really happy with how Brock Purdy played. I was really happy with how the way the 49ers played. On any other day, they could have won that Super Bowl. I mean, with the performance that everybody had, not only would have won that Super Bowl against all other 30 teams, but if you have that performance any other day, you're going to be right back in that spot, or you're going to be winning the Super Bowl. Right. So I give a lot of props to the Chiefs offense. I give a lot of props to the Chiefs defense. I give tremendous amount of props to Coach Spagnuolo. His decision-making from first half to second half was so well noticed, between trying to lay off in the first half and just trying to cover the field and noticing that wasn't working, to then trying to put the pressure on, was beautiful, and it probably saved about 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Chris Jones himself probably saved about 3 touchdowns as well. Their defense played absolutely beautifully. I mean, even special teams for the Chiefs played really well. Tommy Townsend was bombing punts left and right. Harrison Butker had the longest field goal in Super Bowl history. But with that being said, the Chiefs played the best game not the best game they possibly could have. There were obviously mistakes, but it's the Super Bowl, and they played a better game than the 49ers. Now that I'm done with the Chiefs side, moving on to the 49ers, like I said, I was really happy with the way Brock Purdy played. Christian McCaffrey did a very good job of sticking with the run. He had over 20 carries and 80 yards.
Yeah, 22 carries to be exact.
Yeah, I was very happy with the way that we continued with the run game, even though at times it looked bleak. Even special teams, Chris Conley is not a name I ever thought I would be praising, but he played phenomenally well for a special teams player.
Yeah.
He had 2 huge tackles on punt return. He was the player that downed the Mitch Wisnowski punt at the 1-yard line. He even had it was a perfect
that thing was
punt.
Straight to him, dude. That was insane.
Even our special teams unit played well. Our weakest link on the team by far all season has been Jake Moody. And Jake Moody was phenomenal. I mean, he had a missed field goal in the divisional game. He had a missed field goal in the conference game. He hit 2 50-plus yard field goal attempts. Drilled them both.
I would say 55 was his first one for the
yeah,
second
he broke the record before Harrison Butker then broke his record. Jake Moody was the record holder for all of 15 minutes.
Yeah, I saw a thing where it was a picture of Jake Moody. It was like Jake Moody and his record, or it said Jake Moody and his record, and then the picture was Aaron Rodgers taking the field as a Jet.
Wow, that one's rough.
That is rough.
But so I thought our special teams was phenomenal. I thought our offense a bit questionable at times, but overall I'm happy with the offense that went out and played. Sending 6 defenders when you can only have 5 people to block is a tough thing. I mean, having a free runner at the quarterback's not going to be able to do much. And we saw that multiple third down after multiple third down. A lot of people are saying that Brock Purdy didn't make those quote unquote those throws. However, if you want to go back and look at the game, you'll see that quote unquote those throws were because Trent McDuffie was helmet to helmet with him, or Chris Jones had his arms wrapped around his shoulder pads, or L'Jarius Sneed came in, or Justin Reed came in. Like, a lot of those throws that people were expecting Purdy to make, he usually does, but he usually does when he at least has a yard or 2 of separation between him and the nearest defender. Yeah. So I'm not mad. I am overwhelmingly happy about the play call on 4th and 3, where Kyle Shanahan decided to bring the Lions with him and go for it instead of tying the game right there. That play, I was tremendously happy about that call. Either way, whether he would have got it or not, I thought it was the right call to make.
Yep.
The game ultimately came down to a blocked point after attempt. And that's not Jake Moody's fault. I mean, yeah, you can kick the ball a little higher, but ultimately it's not like he shanked the extra point attempt. He did not miss it. If the ball would have not gotten blocked at the line of scrimmage, it would have went in. Our defense played phenomenally well for the injuries that happened. I mean, losing Dre Greenlaw, a top 5 linebacker in the league, top 10 linebacker in the league, is going to be devastating, but our backups in the linebacker position played pretty well. The defensive front got at Patrick Mahomes, didn't give him too many opportunities to scramble. And then I thought our secondary played phenomenally well. That corn dog play, which was the last play of the Super Bowl, is honestly like the perfect play if you time it correctly, which the Chiefs have timed it correctly 3 out of 3 times. Whether you're in man coverage or whether you're in zone coverage, because the thing that happens there is the outside corner then has to take the outside receiver. However, at the time of the motion, McCole Hardman is not the outside receiver. McCole Hardman comes in from that second or third spot and just does a little shallow route where, you know, the inside corner or the inside safety isn't able to get over there in time. So, I mean, yes, it does suck. And that was the game-winning play. And once I saw the motion, I knew the game was over. I knew that was the play they were going to run. They ran it twice for 2 touchdowns last Super Bowl, and we saw why. It works.
Yeah, it's just really hard. Like you're saying, I mean, the inside receiver taking an immediate out route, and then the first, I think it was Kelsey acting almost as the pick.
Yeah.
Within that 1 yard. I mean, especially when you need just 3 yards. I mean, that's tough.
Even a lot of people are even saying about like Kyle Shanahan's decision to take the ball first in overtime. But honestly, I don't think that was a bad call either, because the San Francisco defense just let up like a 70-yard drive.
Yeah.
Even if the Chiefs didn't move the ball as easy as they did, which the Chiefs moved the ball incredibly easy on that last drive, that means the defense is probably tired. So instead of just sending a tired defense out there to try to guard Patrick Mahomes, let them rest and give them an actual opportunity to do what they do. I didn't mind the call.
And even then, I mean, like, you know, we could have been like, oh, if he would have done it this way, it would have been, you know, we can do that all. I mean, at the end of the day, it didn't happen, and it's all just theoretical. But, I mean, if you think about it, on Brock Purdy, that is less pressure. Knowing if you get a field goal, you can still win. If you get a touchdown, you can still win, you know. So with a rookie, or not a rookie quarterback, a young quarterback as he is, you know, you don't want to put him in you have to score a touchdown. Because like you're saying, with the Chiefs offense moving like that, I personally, yes, I think the defense was tired, but I just think momentum. I think the Chiefs just had in their head is like, we're going to win this fucking thing, you know. And I think they just wanted it more at the end as like that, because they're like, we've been here.
Momentum.
This isn't.
Momentum is a real thing. Shout out Pat McAfee show. And momentum definitely did also take a part in that. However, I would like to bring up this point, is that for a lot of people saying that Brock Purdy was the reason we lost the Super Bowl, Brock Purdy left the field in regulation leading, and he left the field in overtime with the lead.
Yeah. Well,
so the last 2 times he left the field, he had the lead.
Yeah. And them saying like, oh, he didn't make the big hawk Brock plays as he normally does. He didn't get sacked. Not once did he get sacked. He played such good football in terms of keeping the ball where it needs to be, or throwing it out where it needs, where he put it where the defenders could not get it. Because imagine if the Chiefs would have got a turnover. It would have spiked up that defense, defense would have got hot, the offense would have got hot. I mean, it would have been no good. And so, yes, he didn't throw the 40-yard bomb down the field while someone was in his face. It happens. That doesn't mean you're not a great quarterback.
Exactly. It's like you said, he didn't get sacked. He didn't throw an interception. He played a very clean game. And he had a couple of runs which were, or a couple of plays that were crucial. I mean, for a lot of people saying that, like the whole game manager type thing, he had a play that got called back for a Trent Williams holding call where he was running around trying to stutter step defenders and found a wide open Kittle on the other side of the field. He had a play where he stutter stepped a linebacker and was able to run 10 yards down the field before getting horse collar tackled.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a couple of plays where you would think he shouldn't be able to make those plays, but he does. And that is overall, offense played a good game. Defense played as good of a game as they could for as long as they did. It was only a matter of time before the Chiefs offense got a rhythm going.
Yep.
And even the special teams performed really well.
Oh, dude, so many great punts on both sides.
There was whether or not I enjoyed the outcome, which the answer is no. I absolutely despise the outcome of the game. It was still a really good football game, and it was very fun to watch.
Yeah.
That is why.
And it really sucks that Dre got hurt, especially with how he got hurt.
Dre Greenlaw, yeah.
Yeah, it's sad, but like someone said, if his Achilles or whatever happened to him, I think it was Achilles, if it was that week where jumping from the sideline, caused it to get injured, it was only a matter of time in the game. And it really sucks because, Dre was all over we were even watching together. I said, dude, Dre is playing really fucking good.
For like the first...
He brought the energy and all that. And
it was like the first two drives where he was bringing the energy. He was hitting hard, getting up directly after, celebrating immediately after with all the teammates and whatnot. Mm-hmm. It was a devastating loss, but I also thought that the backups played really well.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think you're right. Injuries is part of it, and I know, what was it? Was it Tooney?
Joe Tooney. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was out, right?
He was out.
Yeah, injuries are on both sides.
Yeah, a big part of winning is luck. Sometimes that goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. The Chiefs didn't have a player pop his Achilles running out to the field. That's just part of the luck game. Sometimes it goes your way, other times it doesn't.
Yeah.
This game was ridiculously hard for me to swallow because I had more hope going into this Super Bowl. I had more hope going into this Super Bowl than I did the 2020 Super Bowl. Now, I talked a lot of smack during that 2020 run. But looking back on it, between those two teams, our defense might not be as good as it was, but our offense is 1,000% better than that offense was. Our defense is still a really good defense, even compared to that 2020 defense. I had a lot more hope based off the team that we had, and the fact that they didn't win was very hard for me to swallow at the very end. But I'm glad that I had a couple days to think about the game before we did this, because I was severely upset after that game.
I bet. Hey, this is almost what I felt when the Patriots beat the Seahawks. This is that's almost how it felt. So I know that feeling.
Anyway, before I spiral down into a dark, deep depression due to the Super Bowl, those are our thoughts. Obviously, Kansas City Chiefs back-to-back champions. It was the most watched telecast in history, with a total of 202.4 million viewers. That's a lot of people for one game.
That's like a lot.
That's like a lot of people. Usher was the halftime show performer. What were your thoughts on the halftime show?
I think the middle-aged moms were geeked and all bricked up when they saw Usher. No, truly, like on a real note, it started out very slow. Like I was kind of worried about. I was like, this ain't gonna be good. But I'm glad he kind of kicked it up and all that. It had a lot of like guests that I wasn't expecting, like the CeeLo Green look-alike. It wasn't CeeLo Green, but he looked just like CeeLo Green in that fucking god awful tux shorts deal. The
John Cena shorts.
Yeah, John Cena formal shorts. And Alicia Keys, of course, performing how she did with her great voice and all that. I think it was pretty cool. I'm glad Usher kind of kicked it up a notch and started like really dancing towards the middle and the end and all that. And because at first he was just kind of walking through the field, and I was like, this is gonna suck. But it was good. What do you think?
I'm with you in the fact that I thought it started off really slow. He played a lot of songs that I did not expect him to play. I thought he was gonna go kind of more old school with like a DJ Got Us Falling in Love type beat. I know he played, I think the song is called, or maybe it's OMG.
Yeah.
But I know he did a couple songs that everybody would know. He did a couple songs that I personally didn't know, but like my mom knew, so whatever. I mean, that's cool. I did also, like you said, I did also enjoy all of the guests that he had. I thought they were pretty cool. Overall, not the best halftime show we've seen, but quite frankly, there have been much, much worse.
Oh God, yeah.
I did enjoy that halftime show. I'll say that. I did genuinely enjoy that halftime show.
Yeah. I think he did. I think he did pretty well. What do you think about? I think Reba knocked out of the park with her national anthem. I think she is stuck very true to who she is.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed the Reba national anthem.
For guessing exactly the time. Hold on, didn't you pause the stopwatch at a time because you thought it was over?
I did, but I also added a few seconds at the end.
So he wasn't exactly right though, because you said you showed him a minute 35.
I paused it, but I also added some time at the end because I knew that. I paused it.
Okay. I get what you're saying now. I thought you said like in your head, but you just kind of left it running longer.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So shout out to your dad for getting that. What's your thoughts on Post Malone's?
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. Is I thought Reba absolutely dominated that national anthem. I really enjoyed the national anthem from Reba. I thought the worst pregame thing by far was that Post Malone song. I don't even know what song he sang.
You couldn't tell. Like it was like so quiet. It was so drained out by like the guitar and shit. So I don't know. I love Post Malone. I absolutely love him, and I think him as
his songs are. Show. Post Malone's songs are absolutely fire. He sang America the Beautiful.
Yeah. The only beef I have with Post Malone is the fact he like pronounces the hell out.
He pronounces the hell out of what?
His P's. Like, that mic is just covered in fucking post spit. Dude, that motherfucker's. Hey,
yeah, it is. It is drenched. Yeah.
Thing's sopping. And he gave it to Reba. Reba just looks at it as like gross as hell. close. But
So Shelby mentioned this a little bit earlier in the show. He kind of jumped the gun. We are going to go into the gambling lines that we preferred.
and I won it all.
Me and you had under 47.5 points, which barely squeaked by, I'll have you know. With that overtime, the total of the game was 47.
Just like I predicted.
However, you had the Kansas City Chiefs winning, and I had the San Francisco 49ers winning. Or I guess you had the Chiefs plus 2.5. I had the 49ers minus 2.5. And obviously, the Chiefs won outright, so you got that one right. You hit both bets, and I went 1 for 2.
Yeah, so I think with me going 2 for 2, that makes up for you beating me the last few weeks.
I don't know, because you went 0 for 4 last time. 0 for 4 during the conference championship games.
Yeah, but who won this week? You know, it was the I just doubled down. You know,
Technically, if we want
to
if we want to combine all 6 of the gambling lines that we podcasted, you went 2 for 6, and I went 3 for 6.
I went 2 for 6?
Yeah, because you went 0 for 4 during the conference championship games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even with your 2 for 2, you're still shooting 33% there.
Hey, it depends on where I'm shooting. If I'm shooting free throws, god awful. Andre Drummond.
If you're shooting 2 half-court shots, yeah, apparently you're spot on. Apparently.
I'm the Curry of the 96.
Some news came out earlier today on Tuesday, February 13th, once again. Tuesday, February 13th, once again. And that is that Mitchell Trubisky was released by the Steelers, as well as Presley Harvin, the punter. So the Steelers already making some changes to their roster a day after the Super Bowl.
Well, good. I mean, it's not like the Super Bowl changed anything they were going to do. I mean, here, before I get too far, what's your thoughts on Mitchell Trubisky?
At first, I thought it was due to Matt Nagy for Mitchell Trubisky not playing as well as he could. But then seeing how he played on the Steelers, I think he's meant to be a backup.
Right.
I think he can be very knowledgeable because of the circumstances that he's had. I think that he would be pretty good in like a Carolina Panthers situation where he can go and help out Bryce Young, but I don't think that he should be competing for a starting spot with what I have seen.
Yeah. I think because his first few years in the Bears, he was a Pro Bowl. You know,
so he was 13-3, lost to the double doink.
Yeah.
And that was the Super Bowl champs.
Yeah.
That year.
I think he just got, like, his confidence just got shattered. And confidence is one of those things that once you lose, it's 10 times harder to get it back than it was to get it in the first place.
Especially because quarterback is a very confidence-based position.
Well, and I feel like with, for instance, for a receiver, Tony, Kadarius Toney, he dropped ball after ball after ball during the regular season, but they kept giving him chances all 17 games.
Yes.
But with the quarterback, Josh Rosen and whoever had the chance and just got dealt really shitty hands, you have a season. And then if you can't figure out that season, you're done. You're automatically back to the backup role. Yeah. And so,
it's very easy for quarterbacks to have 3, 4, 5 bad games, and then coaches want to, experiment and see how the backup does, or Maybe if the
Yeah,
backup has a bad game, well, then see if the third string can win a game or two.
yeah. I mean, it's good to have that next man up mentality. You know, you don't want to keep dragging on something that doesn't work. But I feel like, especially in someone so young and did show so much promise, it's tough. Because especially when you have a narrative for yourself, as Trubisky did. I mean, we
Yeah.
all seen videos of him, completely not looking at the flats and just going deep with it.
Yeah.
Going deep on like a third and 4 when someone, was wide
4th
open
and
down the
2
flats
against
that
the
could have got the
Patriots on Thursday Night Football.
4th and 2. That's what it was, not third. Yeah. I mean,
4th and 2
wide
against the
open, but you
Patriots.
decided to lug it.
And it was like the game ender too. Like he could have hit a flat and got the first down, extended the game. Nah, he chucked that ball 50 yards down the field over the wide receiver and ended the game right then and there.
Yep. And so, yes, there has been tough to see that. And yes, that kind of goes against my argument. But I really do feel like we don't give these players enough chance to, to mess up, to trip and fall. I mean, at the end of the day, they're brand new to the NFL. You got to think of high school. I'm sure Mitch was the dude. I mean, no one can tell him what he can and can't do. In college, because he went to Duke. Was it Duke? Here, fact check that as I'm talking.
Daniel Jones went to Duke.
Oh, Mitch Trubisky. I think he's over in that area though. Once you have it, don't tell me. Give me hints. But in the meantime, I'm gonna keep talking. So
it is close to Duke. When you think of Duke, who else do you think of?
Is it Kentucky?
Close, not quite.
South Carolina.
Wrong, Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina.
Yeah, you played at the Tar Heels.
Wait, did I say South Carolina?
You did say South Carolina.
Yeah, I thought South Carolina was the Tar Heels. Anyway, so when you have people like that was a dude in high school, in college, he was obviously good enough to get drafted, especially for how high he got drafted.
2nd overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, he was all that. And then once you get to the league where in college you can take advantage of, some teams because they don't have the top players as they do like in Alabama or Georgia or, a top school in football like that. Or you'd be like, okay, one side of the field is really good, so we just go to the other side. In the NFL, you have all those people that were the exact same thing as you. They were the dudes in high school. They were hymns in college. So you have a collection of players that are super tough, and it takes a lot of learning and a lot of patience to learn the defense and to adapt to a defense, especially at the quarterback level, where once you fail once, you get in your head, it's like, oh, fuck, I'm just going to be another dude that's out of the league in 2-3 years. I think we're experiencing the same thing with Pickett, which also has something to say about the fact they're on the same damn team. The Steelers' offense is a tragedy. So I don't think it's so much Trubisky's fault. I guess that is a long, roundabout way of saying I think it's the coach.
Last week, the odds for Justin Fields to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers were plus 1,500. Right now, as it currently sits, on February 13th, the odds for Justin Fields to go to the Steelers were, I believe, minus 150.
Really?
A lot of people are trying to say that Justin Fields and Arthur Smith, the old Atlanta Falcon head coach turned Steeler offensive coordinator, would be like a match made in heaven, and they have connections there and whatnot. So a lot of people think that with the Steelers moving off of Mitchell Trubisky, probably going to move off of Kenny Pickett, that they're trying to get Justin Fields.
What's your thoughts on that?
It's a very young group, very run-heavy, which could be beneficial. However, they're very power run-heavy, which I do not think fits in Fields' play style. Obviously, Fields isn't going to be able to power run, but it's very hard to go from an option play with a power run.
Yeah.
And so I think, obviously, the Steelers have the pieces. Deontay Johnson is a decent wide receiver. Pat Freiermuth is an actual gem in that tragic offense. And obviously, George Pickens is the same way. If George Pickens decides that he actually wants to play. We saw games this year where George Pickens decided that he didn't want to. Yeah, he didn't want to participate out there on the field, and we've seen stuff like that. But then the next week, he'll go out and block his ass off and get like 4 catches for 140 yards. So the Steelers have weapons. I think Justin Fields, that one's very difficult. I don't know if he would do better in the Bears or the Steelers. I think he would do better with the Bears just because the Bears have time with him. The Bears know what he likes and knows what he thinks about.
Mm-hmm. I personally hate it. I don't think. I think the problems with the Steelers lies so much deeper than just a quarterback. And I think if you take
I also believe that
running quarterback to the Steelers, that does not change absolutely anything. I'm going to sound like a big-time hater, but I do not like Najee Harris. I think Najee Harris is, like, he gets labeled as like a Derrick Henry, a big running back. I think his vision's dog shit. I just think it's more so because it's good to have a running game. I mean, look at the Niners. Good to have a run game. Even the Chiefs had a good running game, and so them two are the pinnacle of the year. I think it's time to kind of make Najee Harris as a power back, but a second back, and then explore someone else for the first running back situation. Because I think if you have a good running core, then it changes the world.
Najee Harris would be a very good third down back, like the Ezekiel Elliott type player, because it's that I've said this for years about Ezekiel Elliott, and it's that he's going to average 2 yards a carry, and that's because every time he gets the ball, it's going to be 2 yards. Whether it's a lane that's wide open, he's only going to get 2 yards, or whether he gets stopped or he gets met at the line of scrimmage, it's still going to be a 2-yard gain. Najee Harris is kind of that same player with me as well, because as you said, I don't think his vision is very good. But I also like the fact of them trying to go out and try to get another running back, because I also think that Jaylen Warren, who was their backup running back, needs to stay in that backup running back type role. Because I have a feeling that he would be just like a Tony Pollard, where as the backup running back, he flourishes, but then once he gets put into that starting spot, well, then teams now start to prepare for him more and start to mark down his running styles and whatnot, and he's not going to have that good of a season as he did last year.
Right, but truly, this is kind of off topic of the Steelers, but I think the reason why Tony Pollard is so good isn't the fact, yes, he's a second back, and I think, just like every other sport, just because you're on the bench doesn't mean you're bad. It's just because you're better off the bench. Lou Williams was, one of the better players on the Clippers, but he was better on the bench. Manu Ginobili could have easily started on the bench. But I think the reason why Pollard played so well in that backup is because Ezekiel was so different. I love having a dynamic 1 and a 2 relationship where number 1 can be the hard-hitting, Ezekiel Elliott who can bust out some really big plays and stuff like that. Then you have a Tony Pollard who's like your almost Alvin Kamara-esque, where he could catch the screen, he can catch an out route, he can make a Texas route, he can run up the sideline for a huge gain and stuff like that. Where there's 2 totally different players, where I think they could do the same thing in Steelers land, where you have 2 different, like if they split up the load more, because Najee Harris, I wish I had the numbers on hand, but his usage rate was insane, feeling.
I remember seeing a stat line from a game. I couldn't tell you which game. I couldn't tell you how much time was left in the game. But here is what I remember seeing. I remember seeing a Steelers game where Najee Harris had 9 carries for 36 yards, and Jalen Warren had 9 carries for 96 yards.
Yeah.
But I also think that it's because the starting running back is Najee Harris, and it allows Jalen Warren to go out there and kind of make use of the defense game planning for Najee Harris. Now, granted, defenses could have been game planning for Jalen Warren, and I can be sounding like an absolute idiot. But those are the thoughts that are going on in my head.
Well, so I wonder if it's like a dynamic like Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine, where because those are two different players. I mean, Mixon's very electric and can make big plays, and then Samaji's like a damn fullback in a running back body.
Yeah.
Where I wonder if it's like them, was the two different dynamics, right? Because there's games where Samaji's playing really good. There's games where he's literally like the Ezekiel Elliott, where it's like, hey, we need a first, go get it, kind of role. So I don't know. I'm interested in that. I don't think Mr. Trubisky's a problem. I think in Steelers land, it sucks because they're labeled as such a high success, where Tomlin never had a not winning season.
And and the problem with that is I don't think that they can truly get into a rebuilding form to where they're going to be able to get back up into that success. I mean, you can get really lucky and score absolute gems at like the 15th overall pick. Like, Justin Jefferson fell to the 15th or 16th overall pick. And you could get gems like that, but it is extremely hard. And when you don't fully commit to a rebuilding year or a rebuilding process or whatnot, that is how you live in mediocrity.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, that's what the Steelers have been doing since Le'Veon Bell held out. Ever since then has been the change.
So all of this entire conversation started with the news of Mitchell Trubisky getting released by the Steelers. So interested to see where he will end up, and interesting to see who will join the AFC North and their elite class of quarterbacks up there.
Right.
Speaking of the elite class, the odds for next year's Super Bowl winner and next year's MVP have already been released. They were released like 15 minutes after this year's Super Bowl ended. The favorite to win next year's Super Bowl are the San Francisco 49ers, followed by the Chiefs, Ravens, Lions, Bills, and Cowboys. The NFL regular season MVP odds are led by Patrick Mahomes, then followed by Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert.
Herbo. Well, I guess he does have Harbaugh as a coach.
I am interested. I am very excited for that Harbaugh change, but we've talked about that earlier. Yeah. It was interesting to me how with the outright betting for the Super Bowl, it was split. There were 3 NFC teams and 3 AFC teams. Chiefs, Ravens, Bills being the AFC teams, 49ers, Lions, and Cowboys being the NFC teams. However, for the regular season, it is all AFC. Chiefs quarterback, Bills quarterback, Bengals quarterback, Texans quarterback, Ravens quarterback, Chargers quarterback.
Do you know how good of a year CJ Stroud could be to bring an MVP to a team like a not big market team like Houston? That would have to be an insane league. Patrick Mahomes had to throw 50 damn touchdowns to get his, and even then, people were saying he was, he shouldn't have been it. CJ Stroud would have to put on an absolute, Madden on all rookie year for
I
Texas.
I think since he won Offensive Rookie of the Year this year, he wouldn't have to be as far-fetched as you think. Now, I
Yeah, but
think
who
he
won
would have to
offensive
be
rookie
a
last
clear
year?
favorite. Offensive Rookie last year was, I believe the Jets sweeped it. I think it was Breece Hall. I think. I might be
See,
completely
that's my
wrong.
point though. No one remembers. Like as rude as that sounds, no one remembers offensive rookie. I can't tell you. I can't tell you the defensive player either. But it's going to take so much more than just offensive rookie. Even even the offensive player of the year is going to take so much more for you to become that MVP over like the just because you got that doesn't mean you're in the running for that, I guess.
Yeah, but that's still an accolade that he's going to keep. It was Garrett Wilson last year, not Brees Hall. Same team, but last year was Garrett Wilson. I was right. The Jets swept the rookies.
Mm-hmm.
But I do understand your point with nobody remembers who won Offensive Rookie of the Year. However, that's not an accolade that gets forgotten when people retire. That always gets thrown on there. This
Well, true,
time,
but in
this
terms of
many
MVP,
MVP, or this time, or this many receiving yards leader, an Offensive Rookie of the Year, stuff like that.
true, and I'm not saying just because you win offensive year or defensive player or offensive rookie or offensive defense doesn't mean you get forgotten in the wash. I'm just saying to make that next jump, you have to do like so much because the people that CJ Stroud's competing, just like the guys you all listed, Mahomes,
Yeah.
your Herbert, your Bosa, your Burrow, your Lamar. I mean,
Well,
you're facing an elite class.
this is also expecting CJ Stroud to take a leap. Same way that it's also expecting Justin Herbert to take a leap from last year. In fact,
Yeah,
the first NFC player on this list is at number 7, and it's Jordan Love, another young quarterback who they're expecting to make a big jump. I mean,
I forgot about the Packers already.
when you do the things that you've done with such a young quarterback and a young team all around, you expect everybody to be able to grow and everybody to make a big jump.
Right, but God forbid they run into a sophomore slump. I mean,
Yeah, but we're finding more likely than not that they're not going to do that. It's more
yeah,
likely that they're going to be able to grow together than hit the sophomore slump.
I think it's. I don't really think it's a slump, and this goes for not just football, but basketball as well, but more so in football, specifically the quarterback position, where I don't think it's like a slump, where it's like like my first year. I think it's because us fans have such an expectation of linear progression, where if you're not getting better with each and every game, you're failing. It's like, oh, going through a slump. Da, da, da. It's like,
The other difficult
no,
part with rookies is that they've been doing football for about 2 years now. I mean, when they enter their senior year of college, they play that full season. The NFL Combine is next week.
mm-hmm.
And the college players, their final game for all of college, their final game was early January. Now you may take a week, 2 weeks off, whatnot. If you're lucky enough to be good and but your team didn't make a bowl game or got an early bowl game or whatnot, you probably have like a month off, but you're still going to be training for the NFL Combine. And then from there, you have pro days, combine days, just random workout days where like owners will come and watch you throw or come and watch you run drills. And then you have the draft. And then right after the draft is like the rookie mini camp. And then bang, you're into the season.
Right, you're in football shape the whole year.
Yeah. So this is like the first true time, because even CJ Stroud went on the Pat McAfee show and was like, this is the first true time that I've had a break in about 20 months.
Yeah, that's really good insight. That's really good insight. Because that's something I personally I didn't think about until you said that. So
yeah, so now that a lot of rookies have that break to let the shoulder heal or the knees and the ankles or whatnot, could also help them. Something that I would like to point out is that Bryce Young has the same odds as the NFL regular season MVP as Will Levis. Bryce Young has the same NFL MVP odds as Geno Smith. And this is where it gets interesting. Bryce Young, Will Levis, and Geno Smith hold the same odds for being regular season MVP as Christian McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson, and Tyreek Hill.
Not surprised.
I am very surprised because Christian McCaffrey was an MVP finalist this year.
Yeah, but honestly, he should have won it. Like, Lamar played good and, all that. But I'm so sick of quarterbacks winning it because, yes, they are the ones making the decision. Yes, they're the ones doing that. But without Christian McCaffrey, I mean, that team could always, there was not a game in the damn year, and maybe you can attest to this, that the run game was completely shut down because of it. There have been times where it slowed down, but that's because they were playing the defense was playing the run so heavily that it would be dumb for them to keep pushing the run. If the Niners, if Shanahan wanted to be the damn Carolina Panthers and just do nothing but handoffs, like as if Christian McCaffrey was trying to get his X factor on Madden, they could have because he was that damn good. McCaffrey 1,000% should have won it. 1,000%. Or Tyreek Hill. I still think McCaffrey did better than Hill, but them two should have been the top two. Like, yes, Lamar had a good year. I'm not saying he was, trash by any means. But you look at them two, what they could do at that one position that didn't have the ball, amazing things happened. McCaffrey scored. It got to the point where an anytime touchdown was in the negative. It was negative odds.
Because it wasn't just negative. McCaffrey. It was like negative 300 odds at that.
Exactly.
Like, I'm pretty sure I saw like a negative 270, 230.
Yeah, there's probably, 2 games, maybe 3 games he didn't score a touchdown of some sort in. And how much hat tricks and 2 touchdowns games did he have?
He had over 20 touchdowns this season. And that's in the regular season. That's in the regular season, too.
Yeah, as a damn running back. Like, Lamar Jackson had... Here, I'm going to be looking at his stats real quick.
Because, yeah, even, like... Now, I know you can't count playoffs for the NFL MVP, but even, like, in the playoffs, 2 touchdowns in the divisional game, 2 touchdowns in the conference championship game. Actually, I think it might have been 3 in the conference championship game, and then even a touchdown in the Super Bowl. That's 5 or 6 touchdowns in 3 games. Plus, he was tied for the most touchdowns this season. Tied for Raheem Mostert.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, as you said, there wasn't really I can't really remember. Now, granted, it's really hard to remember week by week, game by game on if Christian McCaffrey was really shut down. But I can't remember a time that he was shut down.
Yeah, exactly. So Lamar Jackson had, 29 total touchdowns. Running, passing, all included. Right. And McCaffrey, let's see real quick. How much touchdowns do you think McCaffrey had?
I think it was in the regular season. I think he had like 23 or 24.
It was 21. 21 total. So you're telling me a running back had 8 less total touchdowns than a quarterback that was, the often called as the only thing about ball on the offense is him. You're telling me that deserved a fucking win over him? No, it's because this new football, you cannot allow another game position win a medal like that. That's the whole reason why Offensive Player of the Year was made, because it's like, okay, quarterbacks, boom, MVPs, Offensive Player is can be anyone else.
I do find it ridiculous when they try to throw in quarterbacks for Offensive Player of the Year. Because it was that Lamar Jackson was up for Offensive Player of the Year. Why? If you're gonna have the awards the way that they are, then keep the awards the way that they are.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think if you're gonna make it that hard for anyone to win Offensive Player or to win MVP, just label it as differently. Don't have MVP as most valuable. Just have it as like best quarterback. Like if you're only gonna allow quarterbacks to do that, just do it.
So we're going to have to move on to the NBA before this show becomes 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
I love the NFL talk. Like you said before, I am very much an NFL talk guy, but I know that you like to talk about the NBA. So we're gonna have to move on before this show becomes 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I have a stopwatch and we are over an hour already.
We thought the Super Bowl topics would go a little bit long. I didn't expect that Mitchell Trubisky would be a 20-minute conversation, but it was.
Right. Hey, that just means, all right, so a little insight. I was busy all week with with life, and so Nick hard carried the topics. Truthfully, he hard carried the topics. And we all kind of made jokes, and I made a comment saying I love the topics for the NFL because it's like Super Bowl, Mr. Trubisky, Super Bowl, and we made a joke about it. But here we are, an hour into the show, and a third of it was Mr.
I know.
Trubisky.
If you go back and listen, it's Super Bowl thoughts, halftime of the Super Bowl thoughts, the final gambling lines, Mitchell Trubisky released by the Steelers, the odds for next year's Super Bowl. I mean. It happens. You never know what this show is going to bring up.
Exactly.
So, going over to the NBA, we're going to start off with not only a rookie, but we're going to start off with the rookie. The rookie who is...
The French Slenderman.
Exactly. Victor Wembanyama had a triple-double with points, assists... And now this is where you would expect me to say rebounds, right? You would expect that.
No, it was points and rebounds. It wasn't assists.
Oh, you're right. You're right. So, see, even I expected to write in assists. I'm looking at the stats and still expected to say points, rebounds, and assists. But that's where you would be wrong. Because it's points, rebounds, and total blocks. He had 10 blocks against the Raptors.
Yeah, and mind you, a Raptors team that is very tall and lanky. It's not like he was facing the Warriors that all, Draymond Green and Kevon Looney is the tallest people on the court. No, you have, you have Pirtle, you have Barnes, you have some tall people over there.
Not taller than Wemby, I can tell you that, and he showed it. He showed it with 10 blocks.
Yeah, it is nuts. Nick, I want you to be completely transparent. Have you watched the Spurs game? Be completely transparent.
First and foremost, I'm a bit hurt. I always try to be transparent, not only with you, but on this podcast.
Okay.
Second and foremost, I'm not the one playing devil's advocate, making it seem that, I'm leaning one way when I'm trying to agree with you all along.
Hey, sometimes you need the devil in your shoulder, baby. I got you.
Third and foremost, no, I have not seen a single Spurs game this year.
Let me say, Wemby could have so much more points.
I have heard a lot.
We're seeing Jeremy Sochan down the Spurs' throat this whole season.
I have been hearing.
God, has it been horrible?
I have been hearing a lot from about the Spurs from people like NBA on TNT, that crew.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of it from JJ Redick, Kendrick Perkins. And it is funny because it seems like all of them have the same take of like everybody. One of the takes or one of the quotes that I heard from Kendrick Perkins. Now, this isn't the exact quote because it happened a couple weeks ago, but the quote was something around the point of like the Spurs are getting nationally televised games, so it seems like every single player is trying to force up shots when they should just be giving the ball to Wembanyama.
Yeah. Yeah, it's literally like the really good guy at the YMCA, and you're like, he's gonna get his. It's time for me to get mine. And then the whole time you're like, wow, I should really give the ball up.
Yeah, I should really pass the ball to him, but I'm not going to.
Exactly. Dude, the man is like 7'4". Have you seen a video of him dunking?
I have. He doesn't need to jump.
Yeah, his feet like leaves the ground just for looks. Like,
yeah, he just needs to do a calf raise at that point, and even that's to do a windmill.
Exactly. And it's the fact that all the time, I can't count on my hand how much times I've seen a pick and roll with Wembanyama. He does hard driving towards the bucket and just have someone kick out. Or someone just take this god-awful contested shot. Or just do something stupid. Whereas, like, just alley-oop it. Literally, he's right there. There should be Lob City just for him. like Wembanyama, and not to mention, Victor can shoot. He's not as lethal as what people think he would have been. Everyone compared him to KD, and I think let's pump the brakes on that. But the Duke can shoot.
As I say, that doesn't mean that he's. It doesn't mean that he's Ben Simmons out on the court. It just means that he still has that. He still has the opportunity to knock him down.
Yeah, I've seen Nick all my life. I've seen Vic post up like a guard, and then do a fadeaway and look like the French Dirk. For no reason. There's no reason for him to do a damn fadeaway, but he does.
There's no reason for him to be as good as he is at basketball. But god damn it, is he good at basketball.
Yeah. And like I love Pop. Pop is one of my favorite, not just coaches, but one of my favorite people. I mean, he's clear as glass. He tells you exactly what he thinks and all that. And I really do think he has changed the way in basketball, not only for how he coaches on the court with reviving the sixth man role, but also showing that as a coach you don't have to be like a pushover. You can be a little stern. There are nice ways to be stern about things, but he is just so old school. Like, I would love to see like a Vic in like a Atlanta Hawks role, or like under that coach. Like Quinn Snyder would be amazing with him. I mean, not to mention he got 10 blocks, but just how much Quinn Snyder was really put Rudy Gobert on the map when he was in Utah. I would love to see that, and I think if Wemby also had like the game planning that Trae Young has, and how like vital he is to that, and how much shots he takes, we would see a Wes Unseld. Like we would see a rookie win an MVP.
Especially with the way, because like if he is so naturally talented on offense, and we've seen. Well, I have not physically seen because I've not seen a single Spurs game, but I've seen highlights. I've seen highlights. That's exactly where I was going. I've seen highlights of Wembanyama's defense, and you just look at the stats: 10 blocks. I mean, he's going to be up for Defensive Player of the Year essentially every single year that he's in the league because of how tall and lanky he is.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, if he can just be in a place to where people would understand their role and just understand to give the ball to Victor Wembanyama, it would be kind of like a Luka Doncic situation.
Yeah, dude, I was just gonna say He is like a.
He should already be in a Luka Doncic situation where he is the entire team, but like the Spurs don't want to be in that situation, even though it would be for the better.
Mm-hmm.
They would easily get so many more wins if they just understood their role and just passed the ball to Wembanyama whenever they could.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I don't think Wembyama is a bad playmaker either. Like when it comes to like assisting and all that, I just think his teammates are absolute fucking buns.
Yes,
So it just doesn't matter.
It's he has last place in the West teammates. That's what he has.
Yes, he does.
But speaking of the Mavericks and Luka Doncic, the Mavericks hung up 146 points on the Oklahoma City Thunder on Saturday.
Yep.
And now, when I say the Mavericks hung up 146 points, the first thought for any fan would probably be, oh, Luka Doncic probably dropped another 70 ball, or Luka Doncic probably had 50 points. Luka Doncic only had 32 points in that game. I mean, that is
crazy that we say.
I mean, only is 32 points in the NBA is still a lot. However, for a man who can go out there and drop an 80 ball at the snap of a finger, it seems like. He did go on a podcast and say that it was a hard night, but he makes it look so easy to just drop 70 points. But for him to only have 32 points when the Mavericks put up 146 points is absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm. On great splits, I think he went like 9 for 14 or 9 for 15, something like that. I mean, he is insanely good, to say the least, just insanely good.
The Timberwolves beat the Clippers yesterday, which was Monday, to claim sole possession of the 1 seed in the West so far. Now, we've talked about this many times, and that's because every time we talk about it, it seems like they somehow get closer and closer, and that is the standings inside the Western Conference. But it has been like a week and a half, and we officially have a clear 1 seed in the West, and it's not a 4-way tie.
Yeah, no joke.
And it is the Timberwolves sitting atop the Thunder, Clippers, and Nuggets in that order, respectively.
Yeah, do you think the Nuggets are still, so obviously anything can happen, especially when you're a 4 seed. I mean, it's not like you're a play-in or anything like that. But do you think the Nuggets like fall is scary, or do you think it's just the other teams getting good?
I think it's a mixture of teams getting good. Actually, I'm not going to say that. Never mind. I think it is just teams getting good because when the playoffs roll around, I truly think that the Nuggets will still be like the team to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think once the playoffs roll around, Bruce Brown leaving them is a big hit for their glue and for like their role players and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
But they still have tremendous role players all around. Christian Brown is a really good role player. Aaron Gordon was phenomenal for them, which they kept. And you're still going to have guys like Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Williams, and of course, the god himself, Nikola Jokic.
The Serbian menace.
The Serbian racehorser.
Wow, I really went in the thesaurus for that one.
I did. I really did. But so, like, there's bringing back approximately 7 out of the 8 guys that really contributed. And I'm not going to say that I should probably widen that number because there were probably a couple key guys that might not have contributed numbers-wise, but may have contributed with defense or may have contributed with, like, off-the-court things and whatnot.
Right.
But when you look at the Nuggets, really the only player that you can say that they didn't bring back is Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
And so even 1 seed, 2 seed, 4 seed, 3 seed, 8 seed, and the Nuggets can go all the way to the 10 seed. I still think they're going to be the team to beat in the playoffs.
Yeah. That's interesting because I was going to also mention the Suns being 6. So I know they haven't had a lot of time with their big three playing at the same time, which also been just a narrative behind KD since he left the Warriors.
Yeah.
Do you think they're a huge threat as what we once thought they were? Or do you think because of, the 6 games, I mean, because they have been, you can look it up, historically bad in the fourth quarter, which is funny to say when you have, KD and Devin Booker. Even Bradley Beal have been known to put up some points. But when you have been historically bad at putting up points, I don't know if this is still the stat, but they were literally the worst team in NBA history at putting up points in the fourth. And that's being worse than the Pistons of now, and also being worse than the legit worst team of all time being the Bobcats.
Worse. That's being worse than the Pistons of now.
I mean,
that stat absolutely shocks me. I did not know of that stat. Obviously, if they keep it up, they're not going to be anything in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, the fourth quarter, not only is it big in the regular season, I mean, it's the fourth quarter, it's big everywhere. But if you have a historically bad fourth quarter, it quite literally does not matter what you do for the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, sometimes it's not bad. Especially
in the playoffs where everything is heightened. I mean, that's where the stars come out. You see, you feel every single run in basketball.
Well, that and I mean, scoring slows down because of the defense, because things have to be more.
Yeah, because things pick up, because everything knows it's more intense in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't get more basketball after the fourth quarter ends. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
But players are not thinking to go for more basketball. Players are thinking we're going to end it in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Shout out to Hasselbeck. Yeah, I don't know. It's really crazy to think about because, like I said, they have KD and Booker, who's, probably I'd say probably top 5, top 8 clutchest players in the league. And the fact they can't manage to, pull it out. Because, for instance, they are 6-4 in the last 10. Matching them with the Nuggets, the Pelicans, the Kings, the Lakers are all 6-4. That's not something you really want to have your name with.
Yeah.
Being in the likes of the Lakers, who's fighting who's in the 9th seed right now, but could drop at a drop of a hat.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that LeBron James and Steph Curry make up the 9 and the 10 seed in the West.
Yeah, truly. I think this is, I'm not counting. I know better than count LeBron out. I mean, he proved it last year when he was a play-in and he got smoked in the conference finals, but he still made it there.
But he still made it to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, that's more than 13 of the other teams in the conference. But we're seeing right now the transition. Instead of the Curry, KD, the LeBron, them being the best players in the world, you're seeing the Giannis, you're seeing the Jokic, you're seeing the Embiid, Jason Tatum's, all these other people really coming out and showing out and kind of transitioning, showing that, if when LeBron does finally leave when he's 54, the league is going to be in a good place.
LeBron finally leaving when he's 54.
I'd be pissed. I love LeBron. LeBron's one of those players that people love to hate because he's so good. He's like the Tom Brady,
What's that? He's gonna leave the Lakers and join whichever team drafts Bronny, so he's gonna have another 8 to 10 years on that team.
Exactly.
And then he's going to have
God
to.
forbid, it's like the damn Boston Celtics or something. You know, so you know that Bronny's actually projected to miss the draft. Like Bronny's USC days has not been good. Again, young kid, give people time to grow. Growth can't just happen overnight. But he is projected to miss the whole draft. Like there's not a team that's going to draft. I think the only reason why he would get drafted is in hopes of also getting LeBron.
I mean, it doesn't shock me. I have said this on another radio show, but I personally do not like the fact that Bronny James has gotten so much opportunity. I mean, I get it. It's not like I'm sitting here saying that like I don't understand why he's gotten so much. Being LeBron James' son, that's such a big name. I get it. But if you look at his high school stats, he only averaged 7 points a game.
Yeah.
And here he
I
is
think
supposed to, people are thinking he's going to be a perennial player at D1 college. Well, apparently if he's supposed to be a one and done, he better get going because he hasn't really made a name for himself. His name is still his dad's name.
yeah, and I think that also comes into play with those because I can't name it. The only person I can think of that is living up to the hype, or not even living up to the hype, but just like also good as their parent was, is Sabonis with Arvidonis or
Yeah.
Avardis or whatever the hell his first name is. Um, he's the only player I can think of that's living up to the hype because even like Steph Curry, Dell Curry wasn't like yes, I'm not gonna say he's a bum, but he wasn't all that good. Like if it wasn't for Steph, no one would.
Yeah, no one will remember Dell. You're right there.
Yeah, and I feel like it's like Michael Jordan. He had at
But
least
like,
one son, maybe two. He did nothing. I mean, he didn't do anything, but because they kept trying and trying and trying. And then we see it right now with Giannis, and not father son, but family member, where his brother is a goddamn
all
joke.
all of the Thanasis Antetokounmpo memes are priceless.
Dude,
I say it all the time, but I will continue to say it, and that is the internet will forever and always be undefeated.
have you seen the video? It just happened today on February 13th. In case you guys forgot for Nick to mention it.
Thank you for throwing the date in there.
We'll do. We'll do. Um, I saw a meme of today where it was Giannis yesterday, I think, last night, where he got a 8 second valuation, and the camera panned to Damian Lillard on laughing and turning to his teammate and everything. So it just shows like everyone thinks he's a fucking joke.
The
I mean,
best pictures out there are like when Giannis pops off for like a 50-point performance or Giannis has like a 40-point performance. And they're like, congrats on Giannis and Thanasis Antetokounmpo for combining for this stat line, and it's
or
just
52 points.
and it's just Giannis's stat line because Thanasis didn't enter the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The thing is, it's like the Bucks are missing depth. Like they can definitely use some more, especially with Lillard having he's been pretty healthy this year, but in the past years, especially with the tear, took him out the whole year. He's proved that he's just getting up there in age, and he's kind of not really injury prone, but injuries can happen. But instead, they keep a roster spots for a goddamn
For
rodeo clown.
Thanasis.
I mean, like, you remember when Giannis was yelling at the other dude after he got fouled, and Giannis was like trying to come on the court like he was fucking Isaiah Stewart and LeBron.
I don't know
I
what's
mean, he
better.
wanted to kick his ass for no reason.
I don't know what's
For playing
better.
defense.
The fact for how mad you're getting about Thanasis or the fact that you have pronounced his name differently every single
Each
time you have said it.
It's fine. It's fine. It just basketball. I think it's like 0.1 or something percent of the world population that plays basketball makes it to the pros. And it's something that's extremely low like that, and you have players that just get skipped over on the bench and just could very well be the next LeBron. They don't just have a shot. Then you have goddamn Giannis. Bonus. I'm trying to think now being cautious.
Now you're
I don't know how
trying.
else to pronounce it. Yeah, exactly.
Thanasis.
Of Taunus taking up a spot when there could be someone else, and it truly pisses me off. I'm gonna keep it. There's Quentin Grimes, goddammit, that is being treated like dirt and traded to the Raptors, and no one remembers the Raptors. Was it Raptors? Oh my god, now I can't remember. He got traded to someone because he had he's having a down year in a Thibodeau coaching, where if you're not putting above your average, you're going to take an out.
Quentin Grimes went to the Pistons. That's who he went to. And I remember that because I saw a picture that said Bogdan Bogdanovic is going to have to go play 40 minutes a night the way Tom Thibodeau coaches.
Oh, dude, that's going to be so bad. But Grimes gets treated like shit, and then Taunus has a chance to get on the court every damn game, and it's ridiculous. All right, I'm over it. Let's talk about the Knicks.
The Knicks. The Knicks are playing pretty good, but we do something came up where yesterday the Knicks lost a game due to a penalty that was called on Jalen Brunson with 0.4 seconds left or somewhere close to that. And the Knicks are actually trying to get that call appealed by the league because many rules analysts have came out and said that foul should not have been called and stuff like that. However, only 6 appeals have ever been overturned in league history. So,
not looking cool.
Yeah, it's not looking good for the New York Knicks.
Yeah, at least for that. I still think the Knicks are a very, very, very physical team.
They're on the come up for real.
They are, dude. They are, and the only thing is that I'm afraid that Thibodeau is going to do what Thibodeau does, and that's by the time the starters and the team needs to be fresh, or at least ready to go, they're going to be dog time. I mean, Jalen Brunson's a goddamn pit bull. I really like the way he plays. OG Anunoby's looking like a match made in heaven for him. There's Bogdan, who's going to play 40 minutes a game. There's all these players that just kind of. What I like about it is they want to be superstars on their own team, but they just work. They just come together and play good basketball. But I just feel like they're going to be a real physical team that you don't want to run into April.
With that being said, we are looking forward to All-Star break coming up this weekend. Of all the festivities, 3-point contest, reminiscence of the dunk contest,
the monster layup contest,
the Rising Stars game, obviously the All-Star game. It's going to be a fun weekend to watch for basketball.
I think you left off one thing, and it's kind of the same thing with 3-point. I am so excited for Stephen Curry to go down and face Sabrina. I am so excited for.
Well, that is definitely going to be something that we will have to watch this weekend, and we will also give our thoughts and opinions on next weekend as this show is wrapping up. All of the opinions on this show, all the opinions expressed on this show are our own. I probably messed that up somehow.
It's fine. We get it.
Make sure, if you like this podcast, hit the like button. Really helps us out. Hit the subscribe button. If you want to hear, if you want to hear more thoughts and weekly updates of happenings, share it with all your friends.
Send it to North Korea.
If you agreed with the take, tell us in the comments. If you didn't agree with the take, tell us why in the comments. And if you appreciated any take, tell us in the comments. If you didn't appreciate any take, well, guess what? You can tell us in the comments.
I think you want comments.
But with that, this has been another episode of the Next Average Podcast. This has been an episode of the Shelby Nick Average Podcast, or as we like to call it, Aw Snap. Thank you guys all for listening. If you've made it this far, comment banana pancakes so that way we know.
And share it to everyone you know.
And we will see you all next week. Thank you guys for listening, and goodbye.